What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another review. This time we're taking a look at Schindler's List, directed by Steven Spielberg and starring Liam Neeson. Schindler's List tells the story of Oskar Schindler, the real-life man who saved 1,200 Jews from persecution from the Nazis during World War II by pretty much pretending that they were his factory workers. Alright, so that's the overall story of Schindler's List. Let's talk about this movie real quick. Schindler's List is an outstanding movie. This movie is outstanding. It's inspirational, heartbreaking, and downright just difficult to sit through. Mainly because the way Spielberg made this movie, he made this movie feel like it's a documentary. And that's one of the very, very, very interesting and fascinating aspects of this movie from a production standpoint is the overall production value of this movie. This movie is done all in black and white, with the exception of maybe a handful of scenes, which is the prologue and the epilogue and a few short scenes of a little girl in a red coat. Most of this movie is done in black and white, and that stark quality really makes this movie feel like a documentary, makes it feel like it's real, makes it feel like it's raw. And a lot of credit has to go to Steven Spielberg and his cinematography and his cinematographer, Janos Kaminski. Both of them really came together to give this movie a very raw, just a very raw, realistic feel and a raw, realistic tone, and it really shows all throughout this film. So yeah, from a production standpoint, this movie is fantastic. It looks absolutely stunning and beautiful, and when it needs to be, and it's downright just dark and frightening when it needs to be as well. All the credit goes to Spielberg and the cinematographer Janusz Kaminski. Now, let's get on to the cast. The cast in this movie is outstanding. Liam Neeson as the title character of Oskar Schindler. It's a damn shame Liam Neeson did not win an Oscar for this movie. He is fantastic in this role. I love how he plays Oskar Schindler as pretty much two different personalities. When we first see Schindler, he's a member of the Nazi Party, and he's not a Nazi for the sake of wanting to go out and exterminate people because he believes in Hitler's ideologies. He's a member of the Nazi Party because, number one, he's a businessman and is pretty much using it for political leverage. And I like that. I like the fact that that he's just using the Nazi Party for his own personal gain because he because he wants to get because he wants to be in it because he's a businessman. A businessman will use whatever political connections they can get if it helps them in the long run. That's how Oscar Schindler is in the beginning of this movie. He's just a businessman, but as this movie progresses and he sees just the horrors that the Jewish community has to go through, his tune starts to change. His tune starts to change a lot, and he goes from being a shrewd businessman to somebody who wants to save as many people as he can from just extermination. And Liam Neeson's performance all throughout this film is utterly fantastic, inspirational, and all inspiring. How this man can take the same character and provide two different personalities and two different sides of his personality. It's fantastic. It's great stuff. Awesome acting. Uh, Leeson's also backed by a very strong supporting cast. That includes Ben Kingsley, Ray Fiennes, who I think were really good in their roles. Ben Kingsley plays Echok Stern, who is Schindler's Jewish accountant, and I like Ben Kingsley in this movie. I thought he was actually really good. Really enjoyed the chemistry between Neeson and Kingsley. Their characters really do form a genuine friendship as this movie progresses, and you can tell that Oscar is very fond of Stern, and vice versa for Stern for Oscar as this movie goes on. And you have very two talented actors who work really, really well with one another. Can't praise them enough. Ray Fiennes, who plays the character of Go, who is an SS officer. Ray Fiennes in this movie is just skin crawlingly disturbing. He is chilling in this movie. The character of Goth, he gets under your skin, and Ray Fiennes does a fantastic job making this character get under your skin because he is pure psychopath. He kills innocent people, and then on top of that, he has a fascination with his Jewish maid named Helen Hirsch, played by Emmett Davids. So the Go character, he's not all right upstairs. Because the movie pretty much plays it out as him being almost in love with Helen Hirsch, and it's like almost driving him insane. It's a fascinating character when you look at it, and Fiennes puts on a really chilling performance all throughout this film. He's great. Uh, The overall aesthetic of this movie, as Adrian has talked about before, the aesthetic of this movie, fantastic. From a wardrobe and production design, this movie looks absolutely of its time. It looks like it should be in the 1940s. The black and white quality, like I said, gives it a very stark contrast, which makes it feel more raw and just real. Cinematography, as I mentioned, is done in a lot of ways in a documentary style, particularly in certain areas like where the Nazis are doing the liquidation of the ghettos, where we first see the Jews being forced to live in the ghettos, and when we see the Jews at the concentration camps, that's where the documentary and type of feel comes into this movie. And those scenes are just incredibly hard to watch, and it you really see the horror that these people were forced to go through during this time of world history, and it's just sick. It's depraved. It's just barbaric. How one man's hatred towards a race of people can just go to the extremes like that. And I like how Spielberg captured that on film. Like, he didn't do it in a gratuitous way. Like, he did it in a way to show you this is what really happened. This is what these people went through. Right? No one should have to go through something like this. And a lot of credit has to go to the real life Oscar Schindler for pretty much sacrificing his own life, his own well being, and his own fortunes to save the life of other people. He didn't have to do that, but he did it because it was just the right thing to do. And you have to applaud the man in real life. And I think Schindler's List is a great example of seeing the horrors of the world and also seeing the good that one man can do and what man has done. Because Schindler saved those 12,000 people, about 8,500 people who are descended from the Schindler Jews are now living across the world. So at the end, you know, this is a good. This really does show that there is light at the end of a dark tunnel, and there is some good left in this world. It's just really hard to find. So yeah, with all that being said, there's a lot more to talk about with Schindler's List, but those are just my overall thoughts. This movie gets a 10 out of 10. This is a beautiful movie. If you've not seen Schindler's List in a very long time, you gotta give it a watch. This is one of Spielberg's best. This is a drama done right. It's not a drama meant to tug at your heartstrings. It's a drama that's meant to tell a real life story about a real life human being who did something that was remarkable and inspirational. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Schindler's List. Let me know yours in the comments section down below. Like this video and subscribe. And I'll check you back next time for more.